Learning objectives. After completing this module, learners will be able to explain the policies for the people, describe the life of sepoys and peasants, describe the list of 84 rules, discuss how the company fought back against the British. Aftermath. A new phase of history began after 1857. By the end of 1859, the British regained the control and did the following changes. In 1858, the British Parliament passed a new bill that transferred the powers from the East India Company to the British Crown for the better management of the Indian affairs. All ruling chiefs of the country were allowed to pass on their kingdoms to their heirs, including the adopted sons. The title of Viceroy was given to the Governor-General of India. With the help of these steps, British government accepted direct responsibility for ruling India. British decided to reduce the number of Indian soldiers and increase the number of European soldiers in the army. Policies were made to protect landlords and zamindars, like giving them security of rights. British also respected some of the Indian customary practices. Indian rulers had to hold their kingdoms as subordinates of the British Crown. Policies and the people. The period of mid-18th century had observed drastic reforms in the Indian society by the British and started bringing about social reforms. Revenues and territories were taken away by them, and Nabobs or Rajas gradually saw their powers to be taken away by them. Though many of them did try to negotiate with the British people, like Rani Lakshmibai, but their requests were continuously turned down. British had planned to end the Mughal dynasty in India in several ways. By removal of the Mughal kings from the coins. Decision of Bahadur Shah Zafar to be the last Mughal king. Peasants were not able to pay the high taxes and ultimately ceded their land to the East India Company. Peasants were unhappy with their pay, ongoing religious reforms, and many were severely punished for not following the British ideologies. In the eyes of British, Indian society needed to be reformed, like abolishing sati and remarrying of widows. Christianity was promoted, which made Indians feel that their religion was completely destroyed by the British. Through the eyes of the people. A book by a Brahmin from a village in Maharashtra called Vishnu Bhatt wrote Majha Pravas, which illustrated about the ongoing condition at that time. The British wanted to wipe out the Hindu and Muslim religion from India by implementing strict policies. Some Indians did try to revolt and resist these policies, but the secrecy of the plan made by the British was spread out in the open in Meerut. Subedar Sitaram was recruited in the Bengal army and helped British suppress the rebellion. He completed the writing in 1861 in Awadhi and translated it into English. Sitaram's writings were published under the title From Sepoy to Subedar. It said that mind of the sepoy was filled up with distrust against the government because promises made by the East India Company were not fulfilled. According to Indian parties, the aim of British was to turn Indians into Christians, and they had therefore introduced the cartridge in order to bring this about, since both Muslims and Hindus would be defiled by using it. This brought about agitation in every regiment and united many as well. A mutiny becomes a popular rebellion. Large number of people began to feel that they had a common enemy and they need to rise against them. Such situation had developed in the northern part of India, which needed them to organize a revolt in a proper way. This period of 1857 saw a massive rebellion and threatened the presence of the company. A large number of people, including sepoys from Meerut, mutinied from different sections of society. Several sepoys were dismissed from their duties and were sent to jail for not following the orders of the British. A widely known personality, Mangal Pandey, was hanged to death for attacking his officers. This widespread revolt was seen in other parts of the Meerut as well. Rebellions set out to burn the buildings and the offices. They were determined to end the British rule and decided the land to be ruled by Bahadur Shah Zafar. Many British officers were killed. He was hailed as the Indian leader. East India Company felt that if the Mughal emperors established their rule again, the British would have to rule their own territories under Mughals. Delhi, Kanpur, Lucknow were the nodal points of the agitations. Zamindars were opposed and Nana Sahib gathered the troops to fight the British. Different leaders were proclaiming themselves to be the governor or king of the states. Rani Lakshmibai joined the rebel from Jhansi, and British were outnumbered by the Indians and British rule started to collapse. Leaders like Ahmad Dhula rose and fought to the end the British ruled. Several zamindars, sepoys, civilians were inspired by the revolt and thus joined the rebel in order to end the British rule in India. The company fights back. People were frightened by the large-scale disturbances, so the company decided to end the revolt with all its force. Delhi was recaptured by British from the rebel forces in September 1857. The company fought back and last Mughal ruler Bahadur Shah Zafar along with his wife was sent to jail in Rangoon and his sons were shot before his eyes. British tried to recapture all the nodal points again. People continued to resist and fight battle with the British. The British had to fight for 2 years to suppress the massive forces of the agitated Indian rebellion. Rani Lakshmibai was defeated and killed in June 1858. British tried winning back the faith of the rebels by morally forcing the rebellious landholders by convincing them that if they will cooperate with British, they will not be killed. Summary. Let us summarize what we have learned. The policies of the East India Company affected different people like kings, queens, peasants, landlords, tribal groups and soldiers in different ways. In 1801, a subsidiary alliance was imposed on Awadh. The company began to plan to bring an end to the Mughal dynasty. The Indian sepoys in the employment of the company were unhappy about their pay, allowances and conditions of service. Laws were passed to stop the practice of sati and to encourage the remarriage of widows. On 29 March 1857, Mangal Pandey, a young soldier, was hanged to death for attacking his officers in Barakpur. In this rebel, Nana Sahib of Kanpur, Birji's Qadar of Lucknow, and his mother Begum Hazrat Mahal. Rani Lakshmi Bai of Jhansi took as active part in organizing the uprising against the British. Rani Avanti Bai Lodhi of Ramgarh raised and led the army against the British, who had taken over the administration of her state. The last Mughal emperor, Bahadur Shah Zafar, was tried in court and sentenced to life imprisonment.